Welcome. It's Man Got a Dots, man. We are back. Brother had to take a little break. Had a bit of a headache on Tuesday. On like the Tuesday and Thursday shows out. But I am here. I am here. I am feeling better. New month, August. Getting ready for school to be back in next week, and then need that for sure, for sure. Um, like I said, I ain't gonna hold you here long. Y'all know how I can do these shows. A little bit of housekeeping before we kind of get started. More than likely, we'll be doing a show tomorrow and do have some pretty good material to kind of work with as far as putting together a show. I like to do the Freestyle Friday shows. Look like them to be a little bit different, keep them in the realm of sports, but kind of take it outside of the line just a little bit. But we will be probably doing a show tomorrow. Like I said, I've already got kind of enough material to kind of start a discussion. Of course, I'll be in the other space on Friday. We'll be back doing the not a sector show also on Saturday, and I'm gonna kind of keep it a secret. But we'll be doing a show in the other space on Sunday. Look, very, very much looking forward to that show. Out of all the shows I got going on this coming weekend, that show in particular, I'm really looking forward to that because it's kind of me in my bag a little bit on that one. But yeah, that should be a very dope show. Probably put the thumbnail up for that show probably on Sunday. If not Sunday, it'll be Sunday morning. So be on the lookout for that. For those that follow me in the other space knows what's going on. But anyway, you see the title of tonight's show, the Dak disrespect. And it got me to thinking, I've had conversations with a couple other people over the past couple of weeks in regards to, my quarterback. And when I say my quarterback, y'all know I'm a Cowboys fan. Talk about my quarterback's contract situation and just the the disrespect I'm seeing. By the Cowboys, and I look at it as disrespect from the Cowboys organization. When you look at some of the quarterbacks who have gotten big contracts, especially since this offseason has started, what more do you have to see to know that you're being disrespected? And I feel for Dak in this regard is you're kind of being judged. I think Jerry, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, I think he is judging Dak on a scale, one that is not reflective of what's going on currently in the NFL, and two, in judging him off of past success of quarterbacks. Namely, I think he's judging Dak on the scale of a Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't think that's fair to judge Dak on that level. Now, granted, you are the owner of the team. You feel free to offer whatever contract to whatever player, and if the player accepts that, then he accepts that. But I think that Dak has been getting a very raw shake from Jerry ever since the last contract negotiations they had a couple of years ago. If you're a fan of the team, even if you're not a fan of the team, Cowboys are news, whether you like it or not. Just suck it up, guys. But just to see that, how tenuous and complicated and that process was to get that last extension done. And I think we're in the same boat now. It's been reported that, from Stephen Jones, president, general manager, per se, if you want to call it that, of the Cowboys, has said he's offered a contract not only to Dak Prescott, but CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is a completely different situation, and we'll touch on that topic another day. But tonight I want to really focus in on Dak. It kind of expanded out to the quarterback position, because when you look at some of the contracts, and let me kind of put that up on the screen for those who are not aware of kind of what some of the quarterbacks are making this upcoming season. You have Jordan Love at the top of the list, tied with Trevor Lawrence, making $55 million. And when we're talking about $55 million for this season, we're not talking about incentives and that kind of stuff that's often in some of these contracts. We're talking about guaranteed money, signing bonus money, money that the player will be getting regardless of how they play, whether they get cut. That's what players especially NFL players. And that's the discussion for a completely another day as far as the guaranteed contracts. But this is what these guys are getting for this upcoming season. You got Jordan Love, like I said, tied at the top with Trevor Lawrence with $55 million along with Joe Burrow at the top of that list. You have Tua, who just recently got a big contract extension from the Miami Dolphins. He's coming in making 53. Jared Goff, another guy who got paid this past offseason, $53 million. I mean, just look at the top five. You look at the top five quarterbacks on this list as far as highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL for the upcoming season, just for the upcoming season, with the exception of possibly Joe Burrow. With the exception of possibly Joe Burrow, you cannot tell me that Dak Prescott is not a better quarterback than any of those guys on the list. You're talking about a guy who last season finished second, I believe, in the MVP voting, had the most touchdowns last year, most passing yards last year. You mean to tell me Dak Prescott is outside of the exception of Burrow? And when we talk about Burrow, we always talking about his Super Bowl run a couple years ago when he took the Bengals down into the fourth quarter. Could have won that game, but Burrow has his own issues. But all that aside, and you can make a case that Dak is a better quarterback right now than Joe Burrow is, because a lot of these guys that are getting paid, namely Jordan Love, namely Trevor Lawrence, and Tua, are getting paid off not what they have done in the NFL, but what they're projected to do while they're in the NFL. You mean to tell me Dak Prescott, when we look at these contracts and we look at the guaranteed money that these guys get, Justin Herbert, I can make an argument Dak is a better quarterback right now than Justin Herbert is. Lamar Jackson, I can't, I ain't gonna lie to you, I can't make that argument. I just can't make that argument. Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, deserves to be where he's at. Jalen Hurts is a guy I can make a discuss, an argument for. Jalen Hurts had the one good year where he was second in the MVP voting. Dak was second in MVP voting. Last year, the body of work since Jalen is coming to the league, I would say Dak has been a better quarterback. But I look at the situation that's going on with Dak right now. I look at it as disrespect. I look at it as disrespect. And while I'm thinking about disrespect, I wanted to kind of play a clip of what the owner Jerry Jones had to say when asked this offseason in regards to Dak Prescott. Let me get it queued up for you guys so you can kind of hear and follow along with what I'm saying. All right. It's always fair use, and all the other good stuff. But here we go.
I do get in trouble. And of course, we saw a head-to-head match with Green Bay last year. We've all got that burr in our saddles. I'm anxious for Dak to get a chance to show he's the best with Cowboy star.
And you think he can do that without a new deal?
Oh, yes.
What gives you that confidence?
Yes. But don't that might imply that we're not going to do a new deal, and that's just not the case in my mind. But we've got a lot we're weighing, and I was trying to say those things change. They change every day. And goodness, we've had key quarterbacks stay out for the first 6 games as recently as last year.
Are you still confident?
So it can happen. It can happen.
Are you still confident?
Let's give Dak credit.
Are you still confident you and Dak's agent can get to the right number, given what the quarterback market is becoming?
Yes.
All right, that was owner Jerry Jones talking about the pending contract situation of one Dak Prescott. Like I said, I'm gonna put this graphic back up on the screen. Yes, you heard Jerry talking about. Now we're talking about Dak Prescott's contract situation, and Jerry Jones is hinging why Dak is hinting. I would say this is hinting at the reason why Dak hasn't got the big contract this offseason. Who I think he has richly deserves, especially when you look at it. Like I said, when you look at the top 5 guys on the list outside of Joe Burrow, I don't know too many people that would take any of these guys right now over what Dak Prescott has done in this league. I'm just saying, but Jerry Jones is hinging. We saw what happened with the Packers game, and granted, if you're a fan of the channel, Hey, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm an analyst at the end of the day. I told you, Green Bay was a team to watch. Last year during the playoffs, their style of play was a problem for my team. Um, but that's just, that's last season. That's last season. But when you hear the owner still hung up on the playoff loss, I mean, granted, it was a big playoff loss, especially during the Dak Prescott era. When you consider we had a home field advantage. Um, one of the better teams record wise in the conference, and then go out in the way that they did. I get it, but to hinge your contract talks and your negotiations with Dak over, you haven't won in the playoffs. You haven't taken this team to the next level. But outside of Joe Burrow, when you look at this top 10 list, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts, who else is taking their team, deep into the playoffs, deep into a playoff run? Um, Throw Lamar Jackson into that mix also, but none of these guys on this list has won a Super Bowl. Only two of these guys on this list has been to a Super Bowl. When we're talking about this highest paid quarterbacks, and like I said, nobody on this list has won a Super Bowl. Jordan Love had a good, pretty good success first playoff run. We'll see what he does now that the pressure's on him. Teams have real good film on him going forward this offseason. Trevor Lawrence has had an up and down career. Joe Burrow hurt a good chunk of his career thus far. Same thing with Tua. Golf. I apologize, golf fans. He has been to the chip. He has been to the chip. But none of these guys to me, like I said, with the exception of Burrow, when we're just talking about the top five here, we're just talking about the top five. With the exception of Burrow, none of these guys would be, I would pick over Dak. I'm sorry, and I'm not saying that as a fan. I'm just saying that off the level of production, what I've seen from Dak, especially over the last 3 seasons. I would pick Dak over these guys, and I think Jerry is doing a disservice not only to Dak, but he's also doing a service to the organization. Quarterback, and this leads to the second part of the question that I posed in the title of the show: is the quarterback position overrated? If you look at the kind of guaranteed money that the quarterbacks are getting, when you're kind of looking at some of these annual salaries, I mean, think about it. Jordan Love had one good season and is making just this season $55 million. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I know there'll be some people out there, some pundits, some fans, some analysts that'll say, the quarterback's the most important position on the field. I mean, but is it? I mean, really, is it? Is the quarterback supposed to is there a certain standard, that a quarterback is supposed to meet as far as stats wise to be considered worth this kind of money? Is a certain, I look at the quarterback position. I've never overvalued the quarterback position. Yes, they touch the ball more than any other player on the offensive side of the ball, but is their importance to the team's success that big that they're getting these exuberant amounts of money? And I understand the market is what the market is, and you're going to have guys that's going to be coming up soon in the next 2 or 3 years, and they're going to be resetting the market. And that's just how it kind of works with the NFL. But I think the quarterback position, you got to kind of look at it at this point. You know, are these teams, with the except, I mean, let's kind of break it down. Jordan Love, one good year, 1 year starting. Is okay. Trevor Lawrence, up and down career thus far. Could Jacksonville win games without him? Yes. What are they better with Trevor? I would say, yeah. And all of these teams are better with the quarterback. But when I'm looking at these contracts, I'm reminded and I know this, is kind of going back a little bit, but I mean, even with the Eli Manning Giants, when we're talking about, a quarterback just doing, hey, we just need you to be a game manager. We don't need you to, fling the ball all across the field, take care of the football, set the team up. Put, a lot of teams, win with good running games. A lot of teams win with good defense. Having a quarterback and paying them this amount of money, I think that, the NFL quarterback position at this point is a tad bit overrated. Is a tad bit overrated. just a tad, just a tad. When you look at some of the contracts they've been giving out over the past couple of years, like I look at the Deshaun Watson deal to give a quarterback a fully guaranteed contract and to give him the amount of money that it did. Like Cleveland is tied to Deshaun Watson for as long as that contract exists. And trust me, they wish they could have got out of it, this offseason. They might try to look to get out of it next offseason if Deshaun Watson doesn't play at a much higher level. But I mean, let's really think about this. I mean, the quarterback is a position. I don't care how talented a quarterback is. The quarterback is just like every other position on the football team. They're dependent on others. Wide receivers need the quarterback for them to get the ball. A quarterback needs the offensive lineman to give him a pocket. A quarterback needs a running back to help establish the play action game. What good is having a running back in pass pro if he can't block? What good is having a talented quarterback in your offensive line is trash. It's the reason why quarterbacks, especially these young quarterbacks that got drafted. I'm looking at Caleb Williams up there in Chicago, and shout out to those. I'm gonna get back to that game, the Hall of Fame game. I'm just doing my due service to get this kind of show out. But I look at what they've done in Chicago with Caleb Williams. Hey, we're going to get weapons around you because we understand, hey, as talented as you may be, you need help in this league. Every position on the field is dependent on one another. How many times have we seen teams have great quarterbacks, but don't have the complementary pieces around them to really take advantage of how great that quarterback is? Look how long it took for Denver to kind of find the right formula in regards to John Elway. As great as a quarterback as he was, when you look at their championship years, it wasn't like John Elway was lighting up the NFL. They relied on Terrell Davis, a very good run game, a very good offensive line, and a very good defense to win those Super Bowls. Hey, John, we need you to make plays in key moments, but you don't have to carry the load. And now, when I look at these contracts, I'm kind of putting myself in the mind of a teammate. Like here it is. I'm fighting for my own contract. My market is not what your market is. I mean, think about it. I mean, who would have thought Jared Goff, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love will be coming into the season the highest paid? When you think about those guys, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. That they're in these guys are in the top 5. It's crazy. Not look at the market is going to get reset again. I mean, could we be looking at a quarterback making $70 million? The way it's kind of going, I can see that happening. Because every quarterback is up for a contract, for the most part, they kind of reset the market. Now, I think this kind of puts Dak in a very, very awkward position. This puts Dak in a very awkward position because Dak understands that, hey, first of all, the NFL is a business. You understand who you're dealing with. You're dealing with Jerry Jones, a guy who just several years ago did not want to give you the contract extension that me and other fans thought you deserved at the time, and what the market said you deserved at the time. Now I look at Jerry Jones going into the season. I think if you do not get a deal done this offseason, Jerry, take this from a fan, take this from a guy that has watched this team since you took over ownership of this team. If you do not take care of Dak Prescott this offseason, I have a very strong feeling, unless you use the franchise tag, and you are very reluctant to use the franchise tag, especially when we're talking about a quarterback, because we're basing it off, if I'm not mistaken, franchise tag is based off what the top 5 players at that position are making. You already have kind of let it be known you do not want to pay him what those guys are making, and you're looking at about an average about $55 million for 1 year. If you do not get a deal done, Jerry, get the deal done. Get the deal done, because contrary to what you may believe and what some of the haters will have you to believe, that it is a very serious market out there for a Dak Prescott. Let's think about it. Can you name 10 quarterbacks? Just 10. Hell, can you name 7? Can you name 7 quarterbacks right now that you would take over Dak Prescott? I mean, think about it. Mahomes, of course. I would say Lamar Jackson is in that conversation. You can make the argument that Josh Allen is in that conversation. Depending on who you ask, could you say Brock Purdy is maybe in that conversation? I mean, I'm up to 4, and I'm kind of stretching. How you doing, Dr. Nikki? I'm kind of stretching it. Can you name right now 7 quarterbacks that you'll take ahead of Dak Prescott? So don't, no, Jerry, don't mistake that, you trying to play hardball with Dak. There's not a market out there for him. If Dak Prescott hits the market, you don't franchise tag him, and you've made it clear you don't really like using the franchise tag on the quarterback, because this is what you'll be paying him next year if you have to franchise tag him. Do not get into your head. Nobody wants Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott can start right now for a good 90% of this league. I can, and I'm pushing with Purdy. Because I think Purdy's success has a lot to do with a lot of the talent he has around him. I'm pushing with Purdy. I said, you give me Mahomes, okay, I got it. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, can't argue that. Josh Allen has been in the MVP conversation. He does have his quirks, but I can take that. That's 3 guys. I can't think of 4 of the guys that I would take ahead of Dak. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So Jerry, it is incumbent on you. Stop the disrespect of that. Dr. Nikki, since you here, I don't think you heard what Jerry had to say in regards to the contract situation. With that, they kind of helped inspire tonight's show. I'll play it one more time since it's just the forward to chat around here. But okay, let's go.
I get in trouble every time I make comparisons. Okay, I do get in trouble. And of course, we saw a head-to-head match in with Green Bay last year. We've all got that burn ourselves. I'm anxious for Dak to get a chance to show he's the best with Cowboy star.
And you think he can do that without a new deal?
Oh yes.
What gives you that confidence?
Yes, but don't that might imply that we're not going to do a new deal, and that's just not the case in my mind. But we've got a lot we're weighing, and I was trying to say those things change. They change every day. And goodness, we've had key quarterbacks stay out for the first 6 games as recently as last year.
Are you still confident?
So it can happen. It can happen.
Are you still confident?
Let's give Dak credit.
Are you still confident you and Dak's agent can get to the right number, given what the quarterback market is becoming?
Yes.
Let me come back over here. Yeah, you heard right. You heard right. The fact that Dak has done what he has done in his career based off the season that he had last year, that Jerry Jones is still looking at this dude to prove it. Considering what the market is, considering what these guys are getting paid. Jordan Love has one good year. And is making $55 million this season. Trevor Lawrence has been up and down since being drafted number 1 overall. He's making $55 million this season. Joe Burrow, hey, I like Joe Cool. I ain't mad at Joe Cool. I don't know if I'd have gave him the 55 based on the injury history. Same thing with Tua. Golf, has had a resurgence since coming over to Detroit. But the fact that your owner, and I'm talking about, the Cowboys, the fact that the owner is sitting here thinking Dak still has to prove something to get a contract is crazy. Um, is beyond me. Is beyond me. Um, but before I kind of get up out of here, because I want to get back to watching the Hall of Fame game that is currently on. Football is football. I'm gonna watch whatever they put on the TV. Before I gotta get up out of here, a little bit of housekeeping. We'll be doing a show tomorrow, more than likely. Got some stuff I kind of want to discuss. We'll be doing the show in the other space. We'll be doing the Saturday show, of course, and I have a special show lined up for Sunday in the other space. I think it's going to be a real dope conversation. A real dope conversation. I can't wait to kind of probably the show I'm most looking forward to this coming weekend, because it's kind of a throwback to what I used to do when I first started on the YouTube thing. So yeah, be on the lookout for that show. Be on the lookout for that show, of course. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to the Sunday show. Really looking forward to it. Be working, collabing with another content creator. A creator that I got a healthy respect for what they do while they're on the microphone. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, of course. But yeah, we'll be trying to put together. I think I got just about enough material to kind of put together a show for tomorrow for the Freestyle Friday show. So stay tuned for that. Probably be doing an earlier start time if I do that one tomorrow. Probably look around by 8ish. Yeah. If you watch, I know I set it up and fall through for the conversation. But anyway, let me get my behind up out of here, because like I said, I want to get back to watching the game. It's Thursday. School shopping is done, all of that good stuff. Kids go back to school Monday, thank God. End you off with the phrase that pays around here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.